Hey fellow gardenums, this is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel where I take you guys along with me on my journey to self-sustainability. For those of you following along with my channel, you know that I made the move from Ontario to New Brunswick this past summer, and so I have to basically start all over again when it comes to my seed starting setup. What does that mean? It's garden haul time. So this is not at all sponsored, but I do like this company, Bases. I've gotten stuff from them in the past. And of course, what's nice too about them is that they're one of the few Canadian companies where you can get gardening equipment, so you don't have to pay for huge shipping costs. So the first thing I've got here is this oak dibber. What this is a tool that makes it easier for me to quickly dig holes in the garden for my plugs instead of having to take out the trowel and individually dig holes, which can take a while and can be tiring on your wrist. I basically just stick this into the ground, give it a turn, and what I have is a nice hole that is sufficient enough to plant my plug into. It also has these lines that are a good way to judge how deep you're digging the hole. I believe each one is about an inch. The next thing I have here is something I'm super excited to try. It's a new product called the Cozy Coats, and they're basically for tomatoes, although I'm sure they would work for peppers or eggplant. And they're supposed to help you be able to start these plants earlier than normally they would need to be started, because they are heat-loving plants and they like to have warm soil. And so because I've been told by the locals around here that the soil here sometimes doesn't really get warm until July, I'm going to try these cool little products to try and see if I can give my tomato plants an early start. It's kind of like this sheath that you fill with water, and then you stick it around your tomato plant. And the idea is that it will absorb heat, because water does a really good job of actually storing heat, and so it'll absorb the heat in the daytime from the sun, and then in nighttime that heat will be sort of transferred to the soil, will be especially around the roots of the tomato plants, and will basically provide a warmer environment for my heat-loving plant. Next, I have two basic sort of seedling trays, and they come with the tray and the plug tray, so they're kind of handy because you just buy one of them and you're good. So I got two of these, and I'll be starting all my seedlings in them. Next, I have two trays. They're just standard plastic trays, and I have those because I have these. These are Coir pots. I've never tried ones made out of coir before. I've tried them made out of peat. I've tried them made out of basically dried cow manure. If you've ever used cow pots, that's what that is. But I'm really excited to try these coconut coir pots, and the idea is that once my seedlings get too big for the little plugs, I will transplant them here. Also, what's kind of neat about these pots is that they're not like hard plastic. The roots can actually penetrate them, especially when they're moist, which means that instead of taking the plant out of the pot when you go to transplant it into the garden, you can basically just plant it pot and all into the garden, and the roots will just grow through. And what that does is it minimizes transplant shock, which can really impede a plant's growth. And I actually looked at the dimensions of the trays and the dimensions of the coconut coir pots, and I made sure that I had the perfect amount of pots to be able to fit into the 2 trays. Here I just have some labels that will help me keep track of what I've planted. In order to use with those labels, I have a waterproof marker here. I really like their waterproof marker. It's definitely been a lifesaver because I found in the past when I go to use a permanent marker, it turns out that the permanent marker isn't so permanent. What happens is I get 1 or 2 really good rainstorms and I come out and the marker, the white plastic marker, has been completely washed clean, and now I have no idea what variety my plants are, which isn't too bad when you look at, say, a cucumber and a tomato, because I know enough about plants to know what's a cucumber, what's a tomato. The problem is then when you have a tomato, big tomato, and a cherry tomato, those plants look the exact same usually. So now I don't know what's what. Now I don't know the difference between my hot peppers and my sweet peppers. And so that's a problem, which is why I really like this waterproof garden marker. I've used it at home and they still have it at home. And my parents still have it at home. And so I got myself another one for here. They actually included a catalog of all their equipment, which is clearly meant to inspire me, and I'm sure it will. So I noticed that I was missing one item, and so I looked at my invoice, and it says here that that particular item has been back ordered, so I guess I'll get that a little bit later. But what that is actually is a heating mat. Basically, it's a 12-inch by 48-inch, which is basically big enough that I can put 2 of my trays on there. And what I'll be doing is I'll be putting the 2 trays with the plugs on that mat. And then when my plants get big enough to be transplanted, I'll be transplanting in those coconut coir pots, putting them in the tray, and having that on another shelf. Which brings me to really the backbone of my seed starting operation. You're probably looking at all this stuff wondering, okay, that's all well and good, but what's that actually going to go on? Like, do I have a table or what's going to happen there? And so basically, I found this blog post for a do-it-yourself seed starting rack, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. It basically starts with a shelving unit that I got from IKEA, and although I have it here, I'm not going to go ahead and open it because I'm sure there's lots of little doodads in there, and so instead I'll just put a picture on the screen of what it looks like. I believe it's a 4-shelf shelving unit, and the shelves have holes in them, which is really what makes it ideal for what I want to do, because what I'll be doing is I'll then be getting, I have light bulbs, which are plant aquarium light bulbs, and they're tube lights, and all I need to do is get some shop light fixtures for them. And then 2 light bulbs will go into each of those shop light fixtures, and I'll hang them from the bottom of the shelf. Basically, I'll attach them with wire, and then the wire will go up through one hole, down through the other, and they'll be hung below each shelf. And the idea is that I will be getting 3 because I have 6 light bulbs, so I'll get 3 shop light fixtures, but I'll really only need 2 because I'll just have the one shelf that has my heating pad and my 2 seed starting trays, and then I'll have the other shelf, which will be my bigger transplanted seedlings. So I have my shelving unit, I have my light bulbs, and all I need to get now are the shop light fixtures, some kind of twistable, flexible wire that will go through the holes. And then I guess I'll probably need some kind of S-hook, something to connect that wire with the shop light fixtures. I'll probably, because the shop light fixtures will probably come with chains or something. Basically, I'll want to be able to move those lights up and down so that I can put them close to the surface of the soil and then raise them as I need to as the plants grow. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little haul and hearing about my plans for my seed starting rack. I'm super excited to be doing it. Definitely I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple weeks and get my seeds started so that when the community garden is up and running, I'll be able to transplant my plants and have a full garden. So if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing more, please hit that subscribe button. And until next time, stay wildly green.